So, our adventurers, having believed they've seen her sack disappearing down a bolt hole, decide to follow him, and they find themselves in a long corridor leading down to 3 entrances or exits, I believe. Serafina decides upon the western entrance and makes her way towards that, leading the rest of the party. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that they're from here. They move themselves into a rather wide corridor with many barrels on either side, and the main feature of this, however, was that there was a Chaos Lord, or a champion I should say, right in the front, right in the middle, and he jumped forward and clobbered poor Jazz almost immediately. So Jazz wasn't very happy at all at this, and so Serafina decided to take matters into her own hands and flew, as she can, right over the top of the Chaos Champion and killed him with a ray of spite, as you can see there. This very much cleared the way for them to move on. They travelled on through a doorway, down a corridor leading southwards, and eventually find themselves in a T-junction. There was nothing there, nothing to be found at all, so they decided that they would travel back northwards. The way they had come seemed the most sensible, and off they went. Back through the corridors, back through a wide barrel-filled corridor with the corpse of the dead Chaos Warrior, and into the main compartment where they had first arrived. They then travelled into a room with 2 marauders. Now, not wishing to waste any time, Serafina decided that it would be easy just to do a ray of spite on both of them, and she killed them immediately. She does this quite a lot in this adventure. It's a well-used spell, and for her gains they were given the potion of flight. We'll see that comes up later on in the game too. Now immediately they rallied and went on into a larger room, far larger in fact, and at first glance they could see nobody, but then they realised there was a party of Chaos Warriors sat around about to have their afternoon tea. I think they were waiting for Miss Nesbit. Some biscuits. I like biscuits. Do you like biscuits? I like biscuits. Biscuits are lovely. And cakes. I like cakes too. Anyway, so getting back to the story. So they were quite surprised to see the adventurers, and immediately jumped up to beat the hell out of them, basically speaking. And that's what they did. Serafina unleashed a ray of spite, killing 2 of them, and the rest of the characters were quite badly hurt, because they were quite slow, and the marauders are quite fast, or rather the Chaos Warriors are quite fast. Anyway, from then on, a bit of rough and tumble. All of our characters, especially Jazz, as you can see here, got hurt, and also Bjork got badly hurt. Crew was quite tough, so he was standing up well. Anyway, the battle commenced, and Serafina killed 3 more with another rare spite in the next turn. You'll notice that a lot of this, she does this quite often, and also the fact of the matter is that she didn't throw a 1 for her mana throughout the whole of this entire adventure, which is quite useful. Slowly but surely they whittled down the Chaos Warriors until there's just one left at the corner, while Jazz pins him behind that pillar. Serafina kills him with the last ray of spite. Excellent stuff. They travel on, realizing that there is only one exit to this room, although it's massive, and that's in the western side. They move across. Both Crew and Bjorg notice there's a nice vanilla slice on the table in front of them, and a slurp of tea later. They're on their way, feeling a bit better. They come across to the western side of the room, and through the doorway there is another smaller room, which they then go into. Notice the way they've organised themselves in a row there to maximise their efficiency. There's some rather nasty looking bones on the floor, and of course 3 Chaos Hounds spring out to attack them. But our warriors are not to be outdone. Immediately destroy all 3 of the attacked by a cat. All 3 of the Chaos Hounds, killing them quite easily, and realizing there's nowhere to be gone in that room. So they turn themselves round once again and head back across the large room, picking up any other spare cakes they may be able to lay their hands upon, and back up to the foul-smelling, stench-ridden room with the corpse of the 2 marauders. And on is an overview of the whole situation, and you can see our adventurers going back up to the east corridor, and here they are in the east, making their way along towards a doorway. Here they open the door and are immediately confronted by chaos warriors both to the front and to the rear. They realize they're in a sticky situation, and all of them are engaged in combat either to the front or the back. Now, Seraphina unleashes a ray of spite which kills 2, and our gallant heroes confront the others that are left, but they're quite difficult to kill. 15 odd wounds to a warrior, and obviously very, very, very tough. High toughness, in fact. Seraphina kills another one with a ray of spite, but we're all finding it a bit difficult and a bit tiring. Jazz has injured hers, and Bjork comes across to help, while Crew takes out the last one on the other side of the doorway, the one that ambushed them from behind. Now, if I remember rightly, what happens next? Oh yes, of course. They finally kill the last 2, without having to use a ray of spite, might add, which is rather good. And they turn to the last doorway, the very last room of this adventure. They enter the room and find themselves confronted by 3 chaos trolls dribbling like mad and 5 marauders amongst the barrels of the tomb chamber. How awful. Disgusting. And still no sign of Hassak. So immediately, with the upper hand, the characters launch themselves at the trolls and the marauders. I think that's right anyway. Yes, Seraphina unleashes a ray of spite, and both Crew and Bjorg attack a troll. This is a long drawn out affair, especially since the trolls regenerate every turn, makes it very difficult. Don't think the ray of spite is counted as flaming attacks. I haven't treated it as such anyway. So while Jazz keeps the marauders at bay away from Seraphina, she carries on initially casting rays of spite, but then a little later she then uses her steel daggers and a potion of giant strength, and she manages to destroy one of them, which is excellent. In the meantime, Bjorg and Crew have killed 1. Then Crew flies with a potion of flight over to the far one. You can see its lovely white base sitting there, looking up at us. There we go, that's a better picture. And he manages to kill the last troll, having survived by discounting 3 of his attacks through some prayers. And eventually they have completely secured the room. Unfortunately, no sign of Hassak. He has escaped, run off, disappeared through a bolt hole in the back of the room, leaving just a hell mace, the potion of healing, and a tankard. I wonder who will get the tankard. Must be that's going to be a sore point, that one, I think. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, and goodbye. This has been Daxio.